forevermore. You are what I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, hold my hand. Oh, in other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are what I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Other words, I love you. Merci beaucoup.
Nous allons procéder à cette cérémonie suivant le rituel de collation des grades académiques habituels. Et je vais tout de suite céder la parole à Monsieur le vice-recteur Marius Gilbert, vice-recteur à la recherche, qui va nous lire le discours en fait qui était préparé pour Madame la rectrice.
Dear Katalin Karikó, Annemie, our rector should have been giving this speech. Through my words, let me first convey her sadness not to be present because of a COVID infection she contracted lately. And before I give the talk that was prepared, please allow me to add a personal note. No more than 1 year ago, the very same news of her infection would have brought angst and fear. Annemie is a wonderful and warm person who lives for her daughter, her university, and her friends. And this is what this is all about, human relationships. Your instrumental contribution to science has allowed us all to restore human relationships that are not paired with angst and fear. Today, we know that Annemie, but also our friends, our relatives, those that we love and who become infected, are most likely to be fine within a week. And for this, from my heart, thank you. Chère Katalin Karikó, chers et chers collègues, mesdames, messieurs. Il y a un peu plus de 2 ans, notre pays plongeait avec d'autres dans la mise à l'arrêt de l'essentiel de sa vie sociale et économique pour protéger les plus vulnérables d'une pandémie contre laquelle nous étions mal préparés. Et malgré les efforts collectifs considérables qui ont été menés, celle-ci aura été dévastatrice en termes de mortalité, de santé publique et d'impact social et économique. Ce constat douloureux doit bien sûr constituer une source dans laquelle puiser une réforme de nos politiques de santé, une autre manière de penser la prévention sanitaire, de penser l'égalité dans l'accès aux soins et le financement d'une recherche biomédicale innovante. Mais la pandémie a aussi démontré notre capacité à répondre par l'innovation aux défis gigantesques qui se posaient à nous. Si nous sommes tous là aujourd'hui, avec la possibilité de reprendre notre vie collective dans des conditions pratiquement normales, c'est grâce aux incroyables développements scientifiques auxquels vous avez contribué. Cet exploit s'accompagne d'un paradoxe. Car ce qui marque incontestablement l'histoire comme une victoire de la science et de la technologie s'accompagne dans le même temps d'une crise du rapport à la vérité, d'une défiance croissante à l'égard de l'autorité, des institutions et des élites, et d'un lien difficile et complexe entre la science et la société. La pandémie a cristallisé ces failles qui s'est creusées depuis des années et qui sont aujourd'hui apparues plus béantes que jamais. Défiance et confiance à l'égard du discours scientifique se sont ces derniers mois entremêlés. Beaucoup de nos collègues qui se sont investis sans compter dans la vulgarisation scientifique auprès des décideurs politiques, journalistes et citoyens ont fait le constat d'un déficit manifeste de compréhension à l'égard des principes et des valeurs mêmes de la démarche scientifique. C'est le cas en particulier lorsque les résultats de la recherche se montrent contre-intuitifs, assortis d'incertitudes, particulièrement complexes, ou mènent à la commercialisation d'innovations technologiques. Ces circonstances ont été exploitées par des semeurs de doutes, experts autoproclamés ou complotistes de tous bords pour discréditer un certain nombre d'acquis pourtant peu contestés dans la communauté scientifique, sur fond de mutations sociales profondes et déséquilibrantes. À l'heure où la crise de la confiance à l'égard de toutes les élites, politiques, médiatiques ou scientifiques est forte, il y a aujourd'hui un effort considérable à opérer pour faire comprendre le lent processus de production des savoirs et ce qui fonde l'éthique et la déontologie scientifique. Il est de notre responsabilité de faire en sorte que la culture scientifique soit au cœur du discours public, dotée de vertus pédagogiques et démocratiques, transmises de manière efficace dès le plus jeune âge. C'est là une condition nécessaire de sa légitimation. Car apprendre les sciences, c'est apprendre à penser, c'est nourrir le débat contradictoire et argumenté, c'est admettre le désaccord interprétatif. L'esprit scientifique progresse par le questionnement et le doute, non pas le doute systématique, non pas le doute idéologique hypertrophié de la défiance absolue qui paralyse la pensée, mais le doute comme méthode, un doute positif, une assise critique, une posture qui vient équilibrer et minimiser les incertitudes. Comme l'a suggéré le médecin et responsable politique Philippe Juvin dans le journal français Le Monde, comment ne pas être frappé par la concomitance de la remise en question du discours scientifique et de la dégradation du débat d'idées dans la sphère démocratique. En France toujours, le spécialiste de sociologie cognitive Gérald Bronner propose de faire de l'esprit critique une grande cause nationale en résistant à une pensée paresseuse nourrie par les algorithmes plutôt que par le jugement personnel. Nos démocraties ont toujours été confrontées à un ennemi puissant, le simplisme. Le simplisme réconfortant et sécurisant. Car la démocratie, comme l'esprit critique, sont exigeants. Ils s'appuient sur ce que Henri Laborit et Edgar Morin ont au début des années 1980 forgé comme concept, la pensée complexe. Répondre aux enjeux des crises qui se télescopent, sanitaires, climatiques ou migratoires, c'est s'appuyer sur un faisceau d'approches, de disciplines, de théories et d'explications, tout en prenant en compte le principe d'incertitude. C'est l'irréductible complexité du réel. Il n'y a pas de réponse simple à des problèmes complexes. La prise en compte de la complexité est ainsi une exigence à la fois cognitive, démocratique et pragmatique. Comme l'ont écrit Alain Herali et consorts dans une carte blanche parue dans le quotidien bruxellois Le Soir, on ne peut mettre en sourdine les décennies de réflexion critique menées par la philosophie des sciences et par les scientifiques eux-mêmes sur le caractère provisoire des connaissances scientifiques, la réfutabilité des hypothèses qui les sous-tendent et la pluralité des formes de savoir à prendre en compte dans la construction des politiques publiques et l'organisation de nos sociétés. La crise que nous vivons est en effet multiforme et demande en retour une réponse elle aussi plurielle où la science a un rôle à jouer, mais pas uniquement. Un rôle à la fois créatif et humble, un rôle qui lui permet à elle aussi de réexaminer sa place dans la société et son rapport à la gouvernance, à la décision politique et aux citoyens. Ce qu'il faut restaurer, c'est de la confiance. Une confiance qui elle-même ne peut être aveugle, une confiance critique et vigilante, mais une confiance malgré tout. Sans confiance, sans consensus, il n'y a ni démocratie ni science possible. Chère Katalin Karikó, votre parcours est exemplaire de ces questions en matière de démocratie comme de science. Il est exemplaire de ce qu'est la démarche scientifique, exemplaire du temps long qu'exige la recherche scientifique, exemplaire de notre rapport à l'incertitude, exemplaire de la persévérance lorsqu'on a la conviction de tenir une piste qui pourrait changer la face du monde. Mais il n'y a pas que cela. Votre parcours est exemplaire aussi du courage d'une chercheuse qui a connu le totalitarisme et son étouffoir, et qui a aspiré à la démocratie en osant l'exil, et ce qu'il comporte de prise de risque, de peine et d'abandon. Même après avoir réussi à quitter la Hongrie communiste, votre patrie et votre culture, même après avoir gagné les États-Unis, creuset d'une recherche scientifique des plus dynamiques, vous avez dû vous confronter aux difficultés d'un parcours exigeant pour une femme de science. Vous êtes pourtant, aujourd'hui, l'une des scientifiques les plus reconnues au monde et votre contribution a été majeure pour permettre de réduire les conséquences sanitaires, sociales et économiques de la pandémie que nous subissons depuis 2 ans. C'est dire que pour nous, il était essentiel de vous adresser toute notre reconnaissance, car vous êtes le symbole de ce qu'une société peut offrir de mieux lorsqu'elle est confrontée à un défi aussi inédit. Pour toutes ces raisons, pour tout ce que vous représentez et pour les valeurs que nous partageons, nous sommes très fiers de vous octroyer un Doctorat Honoris Causa et de vous compter à partir d'aujourd'hui parmi les membres de notre communauté universitaire. Nous vous sommes particulièrement reconnaissants d'avoir accepté d'intégrer ainsi notre alma mater. Et nous allons avoir maintenant un interlude musical.
I'm no good without you. Take my arms, I want to lose them. Take my lips, I'll never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? You took the part that once was my heart. So why not take all of? Why not take all of? Why not take all of me?
Cher Docteur Karikó, Mesdames et Messieurs, je voudrais d'abord remercier Madame la rectrice de m'avoir invité à être le parrain de Docteur Katalin Karikó pour cette séance. D'autres membres de notre université étaient plus à même que moi de faire cet éloge. Aussi, j'espère que vous vous reconnaîtrez un peu dans les mots que j'ai préparés. Dear Dr. Karikó, thank you so much for giving us some of your time in your extremely busy schedule. In the first months of 2020, few people in the world knew about messenger RNA vaccines. When the pandemic hit us, our level of preparedness was limited. Among the resources that were ready was the technology on which the first licensed vaccines against COVID-19 were developed. The speed of development and the very high efficacy of mRNA vaccines astonished the world and suddenly provided immense hope that the control of the pandemic was within reach and that all the suffering it caused could come to an end. Within the largest vaccination campaign in history, mRNA vaccines saved a huge number of lives and tremendously helped societies deal with the pandemic. The technology was more advanced than the capacity of the world to share it. And important challenges remain to make mRNA vaccines available to low-resource countries. Yet, by further highlighting global inequities in access to healthcare, mRNA vaccines are forcing us to face these inequities and to create mechanisms to decrease them. The success of mRNA vaccines are also fueling massive research and investment in vaccines against other infectious diseases, cancer, as well as other diseases involving the immune system. It is also opening fascinating opportunities to use mRNA in protein replacement therapies for many diseases. Several universities have opened RNA centers to advance therapeutic applications of RNA. At the origin of this revolution was your visionary yet simple idea. As mRNA is the template that cells use to synthesize proteins, introducing synthetic mRNA into a cell should allow us to induce the production of any protein when and where it is needed. You then found that in vitro transcribed RNA was inflammatory, preventing its clinical use. You then found that in vitro transcribed RNA was inflammatory, where it is. Yeah. You could have given up at that stage, but you pursued your research to understand why this RNA was inflammatory. This led you to discover, with your colleague Drew Weissman at the University of Pennsylvania, that modifying one of the components of the mRNA could make it non-inflammatory. This work was published in the journal Immunity in 2005. The revolution that this article was announcing took time to unfold, and you met significant skepticism in the scientific community. In the following years, you developed processes to purify modified RNA and delivery systems to use them as therapeutics in collaboration with biotech companies. It is all this work that made possible the rapid development of efficacious mRNA vaccines against COVID-19. When the wise person is asked, when is the best time to plant a tree? The answer is 20 years ago. But then, when is the next best time? The answer is now. Dr. Karikó, the huge impact your work has had and will continue to have in medicine is reminding us how essential it is to have a vision, to be courageous, and to invest time and efforts in research that may only deliver many years later. As we are harvesting the fruits of the tree you planted years ago, it is essential that we plant new trees to be better prepared for the challenge. Dr. Karikó, your achievements are amazing, but you remain a humble person. When we first met, you did not want to talk about you. You preferred to talk about your daughter, Susan. Of course, any parent would be proud of a daughter who has won 2 gold medals at the Olympic Games with the US rowing team. But your wish was to praise a young woman for her achievements. Young adults and adolescents are usually considered for who they will become, and not for who they are, and what they can accomplish. And they are often dismissed in many societies. Young people are often experts at planting trees, and your words inspire us to give more space to the young generation and to allow them to prepare the challenges they will face with us or alone. This young generation has all the reasons to be discouraged, to be hesitant about what they can accomplish, and to doubt about the potential of their actions. Natsume Soseki wrote, "The wind does not know which leaf will fall first." Your life and your work are showing that even if we are unsure about how and when our actions will help, a vision and persistence can make an enormous difference. May this honoris causa doctorate be a humble contribution to the recognition of your work. Thank you.
Nous allons donc maintenant procéder à l'attribution du doctorat honoris causa à Dr Katalin Karikó. Et donc j'invite Madame Viré, le vice-recteur, à me rejoindre sur la scène.
Sorry about my French is not that good.
Non.
Non, non, j'ai un micro. Universitas libera Bruxellensis, ut dignissimis laudibus, quae ab aede Bruxellensi liberae cogitationis
tribui possint, ornetur ac celebretur illa mulier, peritissima et pertinacissima, etiamque eximia animi fortitudine, quae investigationibus novi generis medicamina vaccina creari passassit, praecipue quo odie a nobis arceatur exitiali suis gravisque pestilentia partaviro coronario annibis millesimi undevicesimi quod COVID-19 vulgo dicitur. Katalinam Karikó, quod maxime assiduo et obstinato labore, effecerit ut inusitatas vias, in campo vaccinologiae aperiret, et tamacutis versutisque rationibus usa, inter omnes aetatis nostrae investigatores, summa et perspicua novatrix videatur, quod neque vigor animi, neque ingenii acies ullo tempore defecerit, quantis qualibusque moris et difficultatibus et impedimentis obnoxiassit, quod et mentis probitate, et veri inquirendi cupiditate, et constanti studio erga societatem hominum, quae animi virtutes observare numquam desierit, quae almae matri nostrae tam carae sunt. Doctricem honoris causa totius universitatis creandam ac proclamandam censuit.
Thank you very much. It was such a nice presentation, and thank you very much for all of these nice words. I have to tell you that I am not visiting Brussels so frequently. Last time I was here, 1977, when I was a student in Hungary, and I was 22 years old, and first time in my life I had the opportunity to see what is behind the Iron Curtain. And I went to London, Cambridge. I stopped by in Brussels went to the Atomium, and then stopped by in Cologne. And so I am very humbled. No matter how many awards I got, I feel so appreciated, and I also have this feeling that, you know, so many other colleagues who contributed to, and I am representing here all of the people, my colleagues, and who work with me, who worked before me, who I just read their papers from the 50s, and so I very humbled. And so, dear professors, doctors, researchers, guests, and colleagues, fellow scientists, I am deeply honored to get this very grateful to get this honorary degree from University of Brussels. And I am very humble, as I mentioned, and I have to tell you that I have not been in spotlight in my life. Yeah? Not even in elementary school. I never volunteered to, you know, perform. Probably if I would like the spotlight, then I would be an actress or something. But I like, you know, quiet place in the laboratory and so on. And for 4 decades, really, celebration. I went when my daughter got the World Championship or the Olympic medal. Then there was a celebration, but not really. I was not in the spotlight. And so you have to know that, and encouraging all of the people who might, you know, think that they don't have a chance to tell you that. I grew up in Hungary, in a small town, 10,000 people were there. And my father was a butcher. So, okay, I know how to make sausage. Because, you know, as a child, you learn from your parents' profession, at least at that time of the happened. And my mother was a bookkeeper, and my parents did not have a formal education. So they had 6, my father had 6 elementary, my mother had 8 elementary, but they were very intelligent people. But they had no chance, you know, because the war and other situation that my father could, because we worked together in the butcher shop, like in summer, he could multiply 2-digit number, and he would tell the, you know, the result. By the time I put into the, you know, calculator, the customers already were gone because he could calculate and do everything. And so that I had the chance, you know, to study and learn, and I am very, very grateful to all of the teachers, from the elementary school teachers, and how, you know, kept curiosity, my curiosity, because I think that every child is curious, you know, and they want to, you know, just like we were with my sister, we put the seed in the soil and we look at, and coming out the plant, we have chickens so that we could see how they are coming from the eggs, and this kind of curiosity is there in the children, and you have to maintain that they remained such. So, you know, I spent a lot of time in laboratories, a lot of different working conditions, and I thought that maybe today, mostly for students, I would say a couple of things that might help, or maybe even the older student. Maybe the professor can learn something, because I think that so many ways we could live so much happier life if we would perceive things differently. And so for the student, I would say that you have to select something that you love. And this is very important, because we spend all of our life, or most of our life, working. And if we're enjoying, then we will be good at, and then so you don't need a hobby, you know, that's how is that. And what I how I persevered and why I was keep going. And I have to tell you that from outside it seems that, this Kati is, struggling and suffering. It's not. In the laboratory, I have fun. I was in full control, and so it was the joy there. And how I could manage that, many times I was, in my position, I was terminated, say nicely, kicked out. And then, so I wouldn't be here if it wouldn't happen. So I try to tell you that in age 16, I read the book from Hans Scheyer, who born in Hungary, but later he went to Canada. And he coined the word in the 30s, stress, for the human feeling. Prior to that, it was just physics. And what happened, in high school, in the small town, we wrote him letter, fun letters. It was no email at that time. And then he responded. And we were so excited so that we read his book. We want to know that who he is. And, he wrote us letter from Canada. And so when we learned from his, he mentioned that stress can kill you in the book, yeah? But not really the stress, but how you perceive. So he also said that stress, you need that. Okay, you don't believe that? Okay, you need stress, because he said that without anticipation, excitement, you don't get up in the morning, life is meaningless. So you have to have positive stress, but you have more always around you negative one. But you have to learn how to make it the negative to positive. And so for that one, he suggested that you have to focus on always what you can do, what you can change. So when your colleague work less and promoted and get higher salary, if you are, or get frustrated by that, it meant that you already noticed, you already took away your attention, what you can change, because you cannot change that. You cannot do anything about it. And then you focus on what you can do. And then you don't have to pay attention on those. So that it is hard, but try to practice. Then also that saying that the people, especially I'm telling the students, that so you feel that when you are working, you have to please the boss or the supervisors, and that you get set up for disappointment because he might not appreciate, or you are working, the university. You cannot set up things or working for company. You have to work to understand things, and then you never get disappointed. And so my colleague once, because I work in the same laboratory, and he introduced me and said that Kati is working for me. And I told that, I am here Saturday, Sunday, not for you. Just I am here to learn and understand. And so that's very important, because you don't get that disappointed. I also want to say that many times, can you imagine, is a small town I am going, and now I am in a Ivy League school where every follower, every publishing Nature, Science, everybody's super smart, and my English, you can hear, small town, I learned at the university, so when I went there, at age 18, I could only know the end, because it was written on the end of the film, that nothing else I could say in English, so that it can be very intimidating. And I can imagine also a student is going to the lab, and everybody, the professor, everybody around them knows so much. And then, they feel less. And so I would try to tell that, you have to believe in yourself. In the second you think that you cannot do it, you already done. So that you have to just believe, that, like coming from so far away, and then I went there, and so that's what helped me. Okay, so never giving up, and also that believing. I might mention here that for a women students that. So I also can see that many times, the women feel that, I have to make a decision whether I can have a child or whether I have my career because it's going everything so well. And I just strongly suggest that, you don't have to choose. Not I'm saying that, look, I have a daughter and she came out okay. But so because I think that sometimes we women also ourselves put these things, you are smiling, you agree with me, that so we are overdoing. We want to be the good wife, the good mother, the good daughter, neighbor, I don't know. And just I'm suggest, don't try to be perfect one, and don't over-assist your child. So don't sacrifice your life for your child. I love my daughter, but, I was not there in early morning. She learned to get up and dress up because I was already in the laboratory. And when I went to pick her up, happened that she had a big hole on her pants, and she's 40 years old, so you can imagine elementary school, that was not fashionable in that time. Now it is easier, because you don't have to mend that. But that's, I think about that, and then I said, that's okay. So you don't have to be perfect. And so, at the end of it, you sacrifice your life. No, you don't have to do that. Of course, we need a good partner. So those who are not married yet, those girls should find a good husband. And those guys who are here, please be a good husband. And realize that your partner also have a dream. And so that she shouldn't lower the bar. If she wants to do something and excel, then just you have. I wouldn't be here again without my supporting husband. We met, we were students, and yes, and we 42 years we are together, and so that worked out well also. And what I mentioned also to the students, I don't know, the students that would ask that you have to know that the fellow students, who they are, what they are doing, and be nice to them also. Because what I found is that when I had some problem, like, how I should make nucleoside modified RNA, when I realized that the tRNA has all of this modification. But I followed one of the classmates, we also in the dormitory, Tamás Kis, and he was already in Toulouse, and I knew that he discovered that how pseudouridinylation happening in the ribosomal RNA, and how 2' methylation, and the discarin and the enzyme and the fibrillarin for the 2' methyl. So I called him up and said, Thomas, send me those stuff, I have to modify the RNA. And then, he said that he educated me more on the modified nucleosides, and, it needs structure and other things. Okay, that didn't have, but I learned. And then I realized that I have to incorporate modified nucleotriphosphate. But where the hell I could buy that or get that at all? And again, another telephone from University of Pennsylvania, going to Germany, my fellow student, we were graduate student together, János Ludwig, and I said, where I can buy these things? And then he told me that where I should get. And that's really I got from trialing, and this is how I synthesize. So, today is a fellow student, tomorrow is your advisor, or saving your life, or saving your research. So be nice and follow what they are doing. And so I would like to also talk about that you can learn from everything. So most of the things I am doing and learn the way that I have seen look at that, and I never ever do this in my life, or never say anybody this because it hurts, but so that you can learn from bad things also. And you can learn from anybody. I learned from my daughter when she was 7 years old, and she came home from elementary school. The school is over, and she sat down and started to write, and I asked, who are you writing? And she said, oh, Mrs. Wilson, I had to thank her. We learned so much this year. And you know, I was 30-something years old. I realized I never wrote any of my teachers. So I'm choking up because after that I did. So you have to tell the teachers who you appreciate, but they don't know, they want, you know, you have to tell them so they can hear. And this is the same for your parents. You know, oh yeah, they, you know, you just take, obviously that they help you, but they want to know. And so I am encouraging you, you know, now that the party is over here, just send some letter or call up somebody, you know, that who you appreciated. And so with that, I would like to, you know, remember all of the people who helped me, my parents, you know, who taught me that hard work is part of life, and my supportive family, my sister, and my husband, and my daughter, and my colleagues, who are always, I at least had one who had enough money to give some support for me, and who believed that you know, what I am doing is a great thing, and then they also help me. And I every time when thinking about my winding road, you know, coming here, I didn't even mention that I was subject once to deportation. But so that so many things happen, so many, which you would see bad thing, but maybe the end of it, finally I have to say thanks to all of those people who made my life miserable sometimes, you know, because without them I wouldn't be here. So, and I never been vengeful or never felt that, you know, you see, I said so. Not, I don't fear that. I am just grateful to everybody, even those who, you know, even 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, you know, showed me the door at the University of Pennsylvania, because I would not come to BioNTech, and there would not be a BioNTech Pfizer vaccine in your arm. So thanks to kicking me out and coming here. So that's what I want. So always focus on the positive one and try to, the negative thing somehow make it positive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Karikó, for the very inspiring speech indeed. And I will ask tous les membres du cortège maintenant de venir pour une photo de famille collective sur l'estrade, et après ça, nous entamerons le semeur.
Et chante la gaieté.